Thanks for joining us for an episode of Disruptive Voices of the Pacific. I am back in Australia where we're freezing to death, but zooming into Daniel and Sereana Wood in Suva. How are you guys?
Oh, we're great. Happy to see you again, Tish.
Tisha.
Ready to talk about sex and
Yeah, well, you got your wife with you this time, so that's
I got to
perfect.
behave, right?
I know. No, Daniel's no stranger to us. He's been on this podcast many times talking about sex. And Seriana has been part of producing this book, Sex, Dating, Relationships. Both of them have been part of this vital resource. Daniel and Seriana are pastors at Fiji Connect. Seriana is also a doctor here at International School.
Yep.
And what's your day job, Daniel?
Teach engineering,
Engineer.
stuff about planes and vehicles and stuff like that.
Very important. That's good. But yeah, just really appreciate your voice in this topic. And obviously you're the parents of two beautiful young women, young girls, young teenagers. So you've got your copy there. Have you
Yeah.
had a look at it?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Well, we got it ours a while ago, so
You did.
just brushed over to kind of remind myself of it. But yeah, it's a great resource. So, I think we were just having a conversation before this and we're just saying, yeah, we're handing it out to anyone and everyone who wants a copy. So parents, youth in our church, visitors. So we've got a big contingent of YWAMers that do outreaches. So we're just, we bought 1,000 copies and we want as many people to get a hold of it as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. For you, Seriana, your chapter is on what do I do if I'm pregnant?
Yes.
Why are you passionate about this area, especially for teenage girls?
I guess because growing up in Fiji, right from high school to medical school, working, you have friends who become pregnant. And at that young age, from 16 years old, what do we do? How do we help them? And, apart from parents and guardians, just having that knowledge is so important, how our bodies are going to change, what we're going to go through, and just coming alongside of them and having this book in a young girl's hand, being able to read the information from the pastors and from other young women and the young men. It's so important to be able to just provide that support and help. Most importantly, directing them where to go for that help.
Yeah, that's really important. Hey, it's not the end of the world if you find yourself
Yeah,
pregnant.
definitely. It's just that getting over the shock, the fear, especially.
Yeah.
And we just want to help our women and our men. Yeah.
Yeah, I love how practical your chapter is because I know I've spoken to some girls in Fiji where they think they're pregnant, but they're not sure, but then they don't really know what makes them pregnant, or like there's just been so
Yeah,
much confusion. So
that's right.
it's just straightforward and how to get help. So thank you so much with that. Now, your oldest daughter, how old is
She's 17.
17?
Yep.
She'll be
She's
17.
16.
She'll be 17 in August. Yeah.
Okay. And I know she got an early copy and said, "Oh, I've read it already in about
She
2
read it
days."
straight
She
away.
read it over the weekend, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
She got it really quickly. Yeah.
So did she give you any feedback on how that helped her?
Yeah, she did. I think it's just the fact that she read it as soon as she got it, kind of revealed, I guess, how curious she was about stuff, right? And I think when you initially see the copy, especially if you're a parent, especially a Fijian parent, it could be like, oh my gosh, what are we equipping our children with? Are we teaching them how to have sex and date and relationships? It's not like that at all, in actual fact. I mean, it is like that, but not in a perverted way or anything that would go against scripture. And so Amelia was curious in the sense that some of these conversations are really hard to have. And I love it that there's a resource here that, she can have those clear, and we trust everyone that has contributed to this. We know them all personally. And they're all, God-fearing leaders, people that we know, and people that have been through things that are part of church. And so our daughter being kind of in the room, just being able to consume this resource is just how good is that for us as parents? And then she comes to us with questions and then we can kind of answer them.
Yeah.
But if you can imagine, it can be a super awkward question time to have with a kid. It's like, hey, what do you want to know? And it's like, well, they don't know what they want to know, kind of thing. It's just, so she really loved Melania's story. Melanie is her youth leader. And she also loved your chapter on flags. So she talks about the red flags. And yeah, I mean, that was the things that kind of stood out for her. But she read it in like 2 days. She got it and she sat down with it, and we didn't have to tell her. She was really interested and curious about it. So,
and the great thing is parents as well have just come up and just asked for a copy of the book as well. So it's really safe, detailed. It's for parents and youth leaders, pastors. So it is a book that you can take to your, family gathering and hand it out to your younger cousins or to your nieces and nephews, especially. So just like what Daniel said, the contributors to this book are all, people we trust, people we've done life with and have shared with. So it's just a wonderful book to take into those spaces.
Now, you've both been in Fiji a long time. You're Fijians. And it gets said to me a few times, Letitia, we don't talk about these things. They're taboo. What is the fear around that? Why aren't we having enough conversations?
I think because, sex has to do with, the relationship, the emotions, the physical side of it. And that's what we are afraid of. So exposing our kids to all this information. But because it's done in a way that, it's got the medical side of things, it's got the biblical side of things. So the information is there for the young people, but through their youth leaders, through their pastors, with their parents. That's where kids want to hear about this is from mom and dad, from their grandparents, trusted people who won't manipulate them or abuse them. So it's just reassuring parents as well, or our people that in the Pacific as well, is that they can use this resource. It's actually a tool to help them talk about it. It's a tool that they have in their hands. They can read through it first and be able to share with their children. So it's not everything, but it is a tool. It equips parents, equips grandparents, pastors to be able to share this information with the young people.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways, Tish, it's like conversation's too hard for a lot of parents. So they just prefer to say, hey, abstinence. Hey, I don't want to hear about it. And just because the conversations are awkward and they don't necessarily know how to have them, especially fathers, I could say, would probably just as well. And when your kids are born, no one gives you a manual besides I mean, if you're not a Christian, especially, I mean, you can always go to the Bible if you're a Christian, but yeah, otherwise you're just learning from example. And if your parents never talk to you about it, you're kind of figuring it out on the fly by making mistakes in trial and error.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I think it's taboo in Fiji. It's awkward, super awkward. We don't necessarily have, I don't know, the skills to be able to do it in general, I think, and they see what's happening in other countries in terms of, young kids just, living together, engaging in premarital sex, making it normal just through television, everything. So I think there's a lot of fear attached with it as well. So they're just scared of, oh, if we introduce it to our kids, well, that's what we're introducing them to. I said, hey guys, let's be honest. These kids are being exposed to it, whether we like it or not. When they go to school, they're spending 6, 7, 8 hours a day with their friends. They all got phones. You tell me they're not being exposed to this without our knowledge. Better for us to introduce it to them.
Yeah.
than them to find out through porn or through
Yeah.
some website or through YouTube or their friends who are just as lost as they are
Yeah.
on the topic. Yeah.
It's having that controlled environment and then being able to share with your youth or share with your children. They are being exposed at a younger age, but having that, being empowered as parents to be able to get a copy of the book or to be able to have this knowledge first, and then using their own words, using the book or some other ways of sharing to their children is the idea. We really just want to help parents. Yep.
Yeah, we do. I read a great quote recently that silence around sex doesn't create holiness, it creates shame.
Mm, yep.
Yeah.
Because unlike your day, you figured it out, you said, but these days they Google it, and what they're finding is so much on porn, which is full of shame and degradation, oppression. So yeah, silence, it doesn't produce holiness.
I think an encouragement as well to the Fijian community is rather than having our kids, being accidentally exposed to porn, to premarital sex, to all these relationships where it's out of control, it puts the control in the parents' hand, in the leader's hand, in the youth leader's hand, in the pastor's hands, to be able to be intentional about God's plan, God's purpose for their young people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Did you have a favorite chapter, Daniel? Was there, just looking through what you read?
I guess I like the flag side of things too, because that's kind of where we're at. Like I asked Addison, hey, because we've got a copy for Addison too, and Addison's different age, she's 13. Addison, have you read it? And she says, oh, I haven't read it yet. And I don't have a boyfriend or anything like that. But I think the flag side of things for me is a really good one because even though they may not have a relationship, they're too young or whatever it is, at least they're aware now and they're looking out for that in the young men that they're associating with at school. And so now they're kind of linking it up and they go, oh, okay, now I kind of know what that flag means, or I can see what's going on there. So I think, and I also like Lepani and Lena's chapter on dating and the purpose of dating as Christians as well. So I like all that stuff because it's what my daughter kind of needs right now. I think that's where she's in that zone. And I think you probably find that people are gonna find different chapters that they relate to because of the season that their children are in, or maybe they're in. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just so honor the team of Fijians, because it's easy to complain, and we complain about the high pregnancy rates and the HIV, but you guys have actually stepped up and said, well, let's be a part of a solution. And it's been great to be able to do it as a team. It's not everything, but it's a solution. It's something to get out there. Your church has printed 1,000 copies, which are available if people need them. Also, I am currently raising $50,000 so we can print 10,000. So by the end of the year, these are going to be coming thick and fast through the schools, through the churches, through the youth groups. So I guess we just want to encourage parents, don't be afraid of it.
Yeah, awesome.
It's helpful, hey. And I hope that we can get on the front foot so our kids don't end up in dysfunctional, broken, marriages, and that we can see Fiji flourish.
Amen.
So thank you so much for not just your input, but your support, your encouragement, your voice, and your expertise to both of you. So,
and thank you, Tish. You've been amazing.
Thanks, Letitia, for bringing everybody together.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, well, we've still got much more to do, but we're making a start. So I'll let you guys go. You're hungry, and we'll catch up with you again soon. So thank you, Daniel and Sereana.
Thanks, Tish. Bye, everyone.